Welcome to the Fragrance Files.
Welcome to the Fragrance Files. When I first smelled Val Factor, I it was way earlier on in my like collecting journey, and I despised green scents so much. And it was one of those fragrances where I was ready to throw it across the room. I thought it was so gross. But I kept it as you do with samples, and they start to pile and pile and pile. And I was getting ready to declutter when we were doing our traveling sample box, which we'll talk about later. But I like, you know what? Let me give this another try. And it was like a light bulb moment. It was like, oh, holy, wait, this is actually really good.
Green
And
can be good.
green can be good. And, it's definitely, I understand why people are really hesitant about green, but now it's one of, like, hands down, one of my favorite genres of fragrance. So that was kind of the light bulb ding, 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 ding moment for me with that.
Yeah, when I think about, like sampling and the moment where I was like, I've got this going down. I was in Chicago for work and was just palling around because I had a few hours to waste, and I went into a diptyque store
Mhm.
on Goose Island, and it's Wicker Park actually. But they, the girl was, I guess, bored because it was raining, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I collect perfume," and she was like, "Oh
Mhm.
cool." And she was like, I'll give you a sample if you can list one of the notes that's in the perfume when I spray it. And I was like, okay. And that's how I got all of the samples of Diptyque. It was like, it was just after the launch of Le Papier, and that was the
Yeah.
last one that she gave to me. And I was like, is this rice? And she was like, how did you know that? And I was like, because it smells like steamed rice. I don't.
I would have loved to see the look on her face.
Yeah, I got like 15 or 16 samples of Diptyque that day. I was like, okay. I mean, you can't know all of the notes, but like you can get a vibe. You
You
can,
can get the ones that stand,
yeah,
especially if it's not like a very like I mean, I love a fragrance that's so blended that I can't pick out anything, like and it's totally new
right,
experience. Those are like those moments like give me chills. But most perfumes you can pick out something.
right.
I love
So
that.
yeah, I got all of these samples, and I got a candle because I do love Diptyque's candles.
Their candles are amazing.
Yeah, but we previously discussed that you're not a huge
Yes.
fan of their perfumes.
I'm not, but I do love their candles.
So I know we were talking a little bit around sampling. But
Hmm.
for those who are listening in rush hour traffic or on your 10,000 step journey, whatever you're doing when you listen to us, we want to talk about sample culture today.
Oh yeah. And
So,
everything about samples, decants, discovery sets, how has it changed, shopping, hype, limited drops, things of that nature.
yeah, when I think back to starting my fragrance journey, I talked about it previously that especially during COVID, like hard and heavy, I was like, I'm going to find my signature scent. So I started
Hmm.
ordering discovery sets.
Yeah.
So kind of the same way I bypassed the designer phase, I kind of immediately embraced sampling as a step towards collecting rather
Yeah.
than immediately starting to buy full bottles. I I did go a lot towards like scent split and like decanters and things like that
Hmm.
because I was like, if I can smell more things, I will know what I like quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of had this moment where because I live where I live in very close proximity to New York City. So sampling for me, and not just like just getting samples and ordering samples, but actually going out and sampling things. So yeah, it really became like a self-care ritual for me where I would take myself into the city once a month and visit as many boutiques as I could and smell all the things. So I think for me, I like the experience of going out shopping, but that's if you're not, close to a major city that has niche and indie stores, that's really difficult to do. So I love that samples and sampling gives everybody that access, but there is sort of a difficulty around the pricing of discovery sets and decants and samples that makes me feel like it's not as equitable as it should be.
Yeah, and I think there's kind of multiple levels. There are
Mm,
discovery sets where it's like, I want to explore this brand. I want to see their ethos. I want to smell their DNA.
hmm.
A good brand will not have something that you love everything in the lineup.
Agreed.
But if you want to
100%.
experience what a brand is doing, a discovery set. And then you have like individual samples where it's like, that sounds like something I would enjoy, or that has
Yeah.
notes that I know I typically like.
Yeah. I do like a an individual sample usually when something is very hyped or if there's not a lot in the brand to justify maybe a full discovery set or maybe there's too many in the brand for just one discovery set. But I love a good disco set and a disco set that comes with a coupon code, even better.
Yeah, and then, there are sites, both sanctioned and not,
Mhm.
where people will get decants and like not
Yeah.
official samples.
Yeah.
And I think that's a weird area because I have done it. I just admitted to it. But I always go for like two mils. Like I want to experience the fragrance and live with it a little bit. I don't go for like the 5 mil decants and things like that.
I think I don't know if I feel like 2 mil is enough all the time. Like for me, that's like 1.5 wears as an oversprayer. Like if I'm just gonna spray it on my hand and move on, like that's fine. But if I want to actually give something a full wear test, I think the brand is Bell New. They have and I don't know if it's 5, but it might be like around 3 or 4 ml. It is a chunky, juicy sample and it lasted me 2 wears and I was like, you know what, this I could get through a whole little decant. I definitely need the full size, so I like a little bit more in my, but not necessarily a full decant. I don't need 10 ml if I'm not going to love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we look at like, there are so many fragrances and there are so many releases happening. It's easy to get caught in the hype and in the
Hmm.
thread. And I find samples to be a good way to like satiate the FOMO and be
Yeah.
like, do I love a rhubarb fragrance? And I do. But like, I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't like, yeah, let me try this. Let me get a
Yeah.
sample of this. Um, and you're right. If you're not someone, I live in Detroit, there's no perfume scene here currently. Um, I don't get to go to Bergdorf and
No.
sniff through everything. So being able to buy something rather than buying a full bottle online and just hoping I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you typically, if something's unavailable in the US, do you have like favorite websites that you go to? Like a
That's a
meet.
great question.
Yeah. Like for me personally, I will look if they have stockists in the US or if they ship directly to the US. Um, but if I can't find a stockist, if they don't ship to the US, my go-to has really been Scent Split.
Yeah, that is one of the areas I've gotten into.
Mhm.
I've also made the terrible life choice of paying full tariffs and shipping to get a discovery set from Paris sent. It was like $145 for 7 samples. Um,
I mean, at that point, just buy the bottle. Just buy the bottle.
well, yeah, and then I didn't like any of them, but the
Well,
so yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic advice. See if there's a stockist in the U.S.
yes.
Then maybe drop back to Scent Split. Scent Split has been good. I
Mm,
haven't had
yeah.
any issues with them. No leaking. No sketchy. Is this actually the perfume I'm purchasing?
Yeah. They're my go-to for anything that I can't get my hands on easily in New York.
Yeah. Do you find that you kind of fall in and out of sampling?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Like I said, I really only order samples if it's something that I can't go and see myself. Um, Other than that, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with samples. I absolutely despise clutter, and getting all these samples that I don't want just feels like clutter. And it gets to a point where like I give my stuff away all the time. Like I send my husband to work with bags full of samples, like my declutters that I can't sell, and like at some point nobody wants your trash anymore, right? Like I've exhausted all of my people that I could just give my samples to, and so I'm just stuck with just these piles, these doom piles of samples that make me so overwhelmed. I mean, I know you have a wonderful way of organizing them. um, but the thing that I like about it is that with our whole community of fragrance, that sampling has led to sort of more social connections. I
Absolutely.
think, with our group, we did a traveling sample box for like an entire year that wound up turning into like three traveling sample boxes at some point. But it was a really great way, I think, for us as a community and us as a group of friends who live, so far apart and very rarely ever get to be in person together to sort of share what we have with each other. So we, for those who are not in our friend group, I started it out where I took a box and loaded it up with a bunch of samples, and we passed it along to the next person. And you took a couple of samples that you wanted to keep, and then you just had to replace that with as many or a couple more of whatever you took. It was really great, especially like getting that first box back at the end and seeing how much it evolved with everyone's vastly different taste was really so fun, and it made me feel so much more connected to all of you. So I love that. And I also just like swapping samples with people too. It feels like that's what's given this sort of sense of community where I've had people reach out to me like, "Oh my God, I want to try this." And I'm like, "Send me your address. I'll send you a sample."
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a really great way of making those connections. So I think I appreciate sampling in a lot of different ways, even though it really overwhelms me.
If you weren't in our sampling group, that's not because we don't like you. We just sent it to it like was this weird chain letter that just kept growing. Um but yes, I think our corner of the perfume world is super friendly, and I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of other groups that I'm not part of also doing the same thing. When I first started, like I said, I was almost obsessive about sampling and building this like catalog of referenceability.
Hmm.
And you saw it for for a while. I had a metal toolbox that was labeled by scent family, and I kept the perfume samples in their little category that replied back to an Excel sheet, and it was very obsessive, a little maybe too neurodivergent. And
I strive to be that level of organized.
being able to move into, like you said, that kind of social aspect. And where, I had it as this almost library. And then I was like, but I'm not trying to gatekeep this. I want to share my samples. I want to try everything. It's a big smelly world. Um, and so that's when I also started breaking it down and being like, you like green scents? Here's 15 of them. Figure out what you like. Um,
Fragrance friends are the best friends to have. We are very generous.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now I've scaled way back from, I think at one point I had 900 samples cataloged, and now I just have this
Well,
dainty
I
little
love
box.
that. I just have
Yeah.
doom bowls.
But yeah, those are, I only really keep the fragrance, like really special things I do want to be able to reference back to,
Yeah.
but maybe I don't need in my collection, or things that I'm like, this could be a full bottle. I need to wear this again. Like that living with the fragrance kind of area.
Absolutely. And going back to the idea of decants too, I think it really allows you to have all of these sometimes very expensive fragrances at a much more accessible price. For me personally, I would 100% rather get a decant over a dupe of anything.
But
So,
yeah,
if I can spend $40 and have a 10 ml of something and really know if I love it, if I finish a 10 ml of something, it's absolutely coming home with me. Like I'm going for the full size bottle. And especially if it's something more expensive, that's I mean, I personally very rarely get bottles that are over the $250 range. But if something is over 250, I need to know that I can finish 10 ml of it before I commit to something like that.
yeah, and I think commitment and cost protection is kind of a natural piece of it, where blind buying a bottle of every fragrance you want to smell is a terrible financial decision. It
Horrendous.
doesn't matter how wealthy you are. Uh, but being able to access fragrances at multiple price points to
Mhm.
explore and to determine what you like. And then to your point, there are plenty of fragrances that I did have a bottle of and maybe realized that I jumped the gun and they weren't really for me, but I do like them. So I'll decant myself like a 5 or a 10 ml
Yeah.
and then send it to friends. Because again, I'm an anti gatekeeper. I want fragrances out in the world.
Yeah. And I think once you get a larger collection, sometimes like having a decant is more than enough. Like it's very
Mm-hmm.
difficult for me to go through even 30 mLs of anything. So I never really need another 100 ml bottle of anything. And if that's the only option, I might look towards decants. But I think it's definitely for me, it's sort of died down as I've really gotten to know my taste more and gotten to know like what I actually reach for. I think it's just a process where it takes a long time to get to know who you are and what kind of fragrances you really gravitate towards. And, I respect people who could have a really small, highly curated collection, but that's obviously not me.
Um, no, I think, yeah, the ability to sample, especially in a discovery set, is, such a great way to get exposure to these very cool niche and indie brands or to test something out that you would not otherwise be reaching for at the price
Mhm.
point that it's at.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I can't. So many of my samples are these bizarre discovery kits from brands far flung around the world. And it fills me with so much joy to be able to say, oh, you really like patchouli? Why don't you try these 3 patchoulis that you've never heard of before? Like,
Yeah. That's why I love a disco set. Like a disco set to me almost feels like keeping like a journal.
mhm.
Like I want to hold on to those. I very rarely get rid of my disco sets, but I'm always getting rid of my single samples, like all the time. um,
How do you approach sampling?
so there's always like the initial spray, right? So I'm gonna spray it on paper first. If I'm really feeling daring, I'm gonna go right in on skin with something, because I kind of want to know, like, all right, am I gonna drain this? Am I gonna use it, or is it just gonna go in the declutter pile? So depending on how daring I'm feeling, it'll go right on skin. And I usually only sample like two fragrances a night. I want one on each hand. This way I can fully evaluate. And I'll sit with it for the whole night. Usually I'll do it like after work so that I'm smelling and kind of like jotting down notes as I'm relaxing at the end of the day. And then I'll decide if I'm going to wear it like the next day for an entire wear. And usually, like I said, a 2 ml sample is kind of like one wear for me. Um, if I enjoy it the whole day, and I don't really necessarily judge things on longevity, but if I enjoy the entire wear of the fragrance, depending on the price, I'll upgrade to either a 10 ml or I'll upgrade to the full size bottle.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I am a little different. I do love a disco set. I want to feel the ethos of a brand.
absolutely.
So I will usually dive straight into spraying one spray on a blotter and I'll kind of smell the fragrance and I see what my initial impression, what is the image I'm getting? What is the memory, the emotion? And then I have to read the story because I'm all about a good story. And unless it is truly objectionable, white florals are super hard for me. So
Yeah.
anytime I am reading it and breathing in white florals, I'm like, maybe not on skin. This might not be for me.
I've
But
definitely
unless it's
sprayed things on skin that I should not have.
right,
Yeah.
unless it's truly objectionable for me, I will go from the first spray on paper onto skin because skin chemistry is to me real. I know the science people debate that, but things are different on paper versus skin.
Yeah.
And as long as those two like initial tests are fine, it moves into the test it as a full wear one day
Yeah.
like pile, which I have
Yeah.
a separate pile from my little box for that.
I love that you can like think ahead like that. If I don't wear it the next day and throw it in the bowl, it's gone forever.
Right.
It's out of sight, out of mind. I don't know that it's there anymore.
Yeah, and there is that fortunately I am not an oversprayer. I also don't I'm not one of those my husband is like a one spray in the center of the chest and that's it. Like, are you even wearing a fragrance?
Oh,
Um but
I have
I
some
am like a
words for him.
5 or 6 sprays. So I can get like 3 wears out of a 2 ml sample.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that initial test is this something I can appreciate? Is this something I want to wear on skin? How
Hmm.
do I feel about it? And then how does it wear? And then I try to see if there's a slow appreciation or is it this is nice but not for me, or I like it but don't love it, or this could be a real contender for my collection.
It's so much fun. It's one of my favorite things. Like I love going through it. Part of like how we connected too is like sampling things together and just video chatting. So again, there's that social aspect of just like I love watching everybody's faces when when they smell things for the first time. It's one of my favorite parts of it.
Loved,
But
I think it was one of our first times doing TikTok live together. We were smelling the same discovery set at the same time.
yeah.
And there was this moment where we both of our eyebrows were all the way up and we were having a very distinct conversation via telepathy several hundred miles apart around what we were going to say about this fragrance because everyone was like, those are faces. What's happening?
Oh my God, I don't even remember what we were smelling.
Don't either.
I don't think it was good.
It was not.
It was not good. I mean, with all the upsides to sampling in general, I do think that there are some downsides in this whole realm, and it really just depends on how you're approaching it. But I know for me, I get decision paralysis, and I feel like sampling has almost become like the Tinder of fragrance, where it's just like, okay, next, 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 next. And it's like you're never actually sitting with something long enough if you're just doing samples, right? And there's something to be said, like you can have some people have a very legitimate sample collection, and that is still a fragrance collection as far as I'm concerned. But I hate that feeling of like, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? So it does feel like almost like scrolling and like right, left, right, left.
I mean, yeah, there. I don't necessarily think that's bad. I mean, we are in kind of like a dopamine heavy area and hobby.
True.
And I view it a lot of the same way I view consuming any other media. And
Hmm.
like, I can, I listen to a lot of music. And like, there are playlists where I will listen to a song and it's gone. I will never hear it again. We
Hmm.
spent a lovely 3.5 minutes together when we've moved on. And then there are songs that you listen to and you're like, this is kind of special. Let me add this to my listen later. Let me come back
Yeah.
to this another time. And then
Yeah.
there are those ones where you're like, nope, repeat. I need to hear this right now. Nope, let me go listen to the album that this is
I
from.
love I love that comparison. That is actually a really great comparison.
Like I don't mind. I think that's what I love about samples is I can go, nope, not for me. I can go, oh, that's pretty. Or I can say, I need to spend more time with this. I do think it is a left right, and I think it's not a novelty. I do see what you mean that you can be almost like overwhelmed and you're not actually appreciating it because you're just like, oh, sample, sample.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I guess it's no different from being in a store, but then there's all this extra just stuff that piles up when sampling versus smelling inside of the store, you know?
yeah, yeah, I can see that. I
Okay.
do find it not troubling, but there are those moments where someone will have a series, and not to pick on anyone, but I just saw this today, so this is the example I'm using. But they were like, I am a Catholic, so I'm going to tell you definitively what fragrance is the best Catholic guilt fragrance. And I got 20 samples from Scent Split this week, and we're going to tell you which one's the best. And like, if you just got the 20 samples from Scent Split this week, you don't know those 20 fragrances that well.
Agreed.
You also clearly aren't that invested in Catholic Guild fragrances to have the awareness to tell me of the hundreds of fragrances. Like, I think there's this risk of like, how long are you spending time with this fragrance before you're going to review it? And I'm guilty of it. I'm not saying that it's inherently bad because I'll talk about discovery sets and say this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, but like, I don't know that it makes me an authority on the fragrance either.
Yeah, I think more goes into like if I'm going to review something and I know it's something I want to review, I want to spend a lot more time with it. I want to wear it several times before I give you my full this is how it makes me feel. This is what I'm getting from it. Because I'm not doing a review that's like this is fresh spicy woody. Like no, I need my fragrance to not only do I want them to tell me a story, but I want to come up with a story for how the fragrance makes me feel as well. I want to know that entire wear, the entire, is it a linear fragrance? Am I going to smell like this all day? Or is it going to morph into something different when I'm sweaty or when I'm cold? Or, if I'm reapplying what that experience is like. So, no, I think you need to sit with something longer before you're just, and even if it's a negative review, even if you don't like something right away, like that's kind of why I like the doom bowls because I will once in a while come up to them and be like, and be like, oh, wait a minute, that's actually not as bad as I thought it was at first. Um,
Also, especially when reviewing like a discovery set, like this one, I'm going to pick on them just because I got it. The Auntie
mm,
discovery set, super cool. But
yeah.
like, I know when I do a video for this, I'm going to talk about how cool the brand is for
Hmm.
focusing on perfume throughout time. But realistically, there's only 3 of these that I'm going to like actually wear. So I'm going to be
Yeah.
like, this is the brand, this was the set, this is how I feel about it. And then I'm going to really only talk to the fragrance that I spent time with.
Yeah. I don't think you need to review every single fragrance in a discovery set if you're going. I love the experience of a disco set. And I like for it to feel really special too. Like for me, I'll call out Denom on this because I think they have a really good affordable discovery set usually. And I love that it comes with blotters that say the name of each fragrance on it. I don't have to write it. It just feels really special to me. So it feels more like an activity. And yeah, I mean, again, like you said earlier, if you love every single fragrance in an entire collection, your nose may not be that discerning yet, you know?
Yeah.
And it's okay to love everything. It's not a bad thing, but it means your money is going to go a lot faster.
That's the other thing is I do love a good discovery set, as we said at nauseum. I appreciate a well packaged discovery set. I'm also where samples are kind of a loss leader for
Mhm.
perfume brands, especially small ones. So like I just picked out 3 examples here for those that aren't watching the video, but like fantastic discovery set. It's boxed. There's like a little pamphlet that talks about each fragrance. It's an experience and it's quite nice. And then you get stuff like Space Fluid here is a little metal tin with their name, and then it's just 6 samples crammed inside here with some paper. They're like, you get what you get, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that just as
But listen,
much.
I'm throwing that in my bag and I'm taking that shit with me all the time. Like
Right. And then you can get a little excessive, no offense, but like, I picked this up out of the bag, and I was like, this is a discovery set?
Oh, I only got his individual samples. I don't think I got the
All this packaging for 3 2 ml samples.
yeah. I see
Like, that
that.
feels a little wasteful.
Yeah. I see.
So,
You know whose discovery set is amazing, and if I didn't own every single one of his fragrances, I would get it. JK from Closet.
well, I mean,
uh
yes. If you
it
want to talk
is
about an amazing
yeah.
discovery, yeah.
I don't and that's an indie brand. Like JK's he's a one-man operation and I don't have one to show you, but if you want to go look it up, his discovery set is in a little cassette tape and it's so retro and so cool and just so thoughtful and very on brand for who he is. And I think it's one of the best indie disco set designs I think I've seen personally. I'm a little
Yeah. And
biased though.
then truly the I think magnum opus of Discovery sets is the Revelation box by Filippo.
Oh my
Uh, my
God.
most viewed TikTok is my cursing and bleeping out because I was convinced I was going to get in trouble for it of unraveling that bandolier of samples. And it took me like 2.5 weeks to get even
Oh
an
my
initial
God.
smell of all of them.
That's
Um,
too many fragrances.
but yeah, when you get a house that has so much to offer, those discovery sets get wild and wildly expensive.
Yeah, but I mean that I feel like that's a really cool discussion piece to have as well. Did you keep all those samples or did you like break it
So
up?
I smelled through them, wore through a few of them. I fortunately had already had several Filippo samples.
Mm.
So the ones that I wore through, I was able to kind of like replenish. After that, though, a friend of ours, it was their birthday, and I was like, I know what you need. So I sent them the Revelation box again because
Mm.
I had gotten to enjoy it and spend time with it. It was very special, but I'm not going to always reference 43 Filippo fragrances.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Um, I lost place over where we were. I
Do
need a
you
smoke
feel
break.
like okay? Do you feel like sampling and that decision paralysis can almost lead to like a fear of commitment? Like you'll never move from the samples into the bottles?
Oh, absolutely. So I think for a lot of people that happens. I don't know. Again, like so it's why I liken it to like Tinder, where it's like you're dating, but there's always something else better out there. So you're not going to commit to it. You're just going to keep going. You're going to keep smelling. But what makes you truly connect with the fragrance to finally pull the trigger on that, or are you just chasing what the next big hype fragrance is, right? Or are you not even are you going past the samples and just blind buying the $600 bottle because it gives you the status symbol? you
Yeah,
know?
fair.
Um,
One thing that kills me, my biggest sample ick. I have two sample icks actually. My biggest one is single use samples.
yeah.
I cannot know your fragrance from a single wear.
Yep.
If your
Agreed.
if your sample comes in a blister pack, I do not want to buy your bottle.
Those are the worst. I mean, listen, I don't think this is a hot take, but dabbers are horrendous. But a blister pack feels insulting.
Yes.
It's like you don't want
Um,
me to actually smell the entire thing.
and then that is my second ick is
Yeah.
dabbers.
Yeah.
Just because I don't feel like I can get the experience of the fragrance kind of enveloping me in a wear
I
because it's
agree.
living on my wrist where I like dripped some of the liquid.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And I think most people in the fragrance community feel that way. I do, however, keep my dabbers because I have vintage jewelry that holds dabber samples. So I need to hold on to something so I can wear it in my necklace.
Yeah, you're a little. I do have. It is actually from Tambourines in South Korea. My friend got for me this little wiener dog sample holder.
I love that.
It holds a single 2 mil sample, so it can go on your keyring.
We need more of this. Like, we need fun little perfume accessories. I've been
Yes.
any single brand owner that will listen, I've been telling this to at nauseum.
Also, if you're unfamiliar with the brand Timberins, they have the most fun bottles. All of them. They have like several different series of bottle types that
Mhm.
are carry multiple of their scents. It's wild.
I love that. Do you have any do you have any fragrances in your collection that are you have an emotional attachment to the bottle itself, or could you decant it?
Now, I think 7 months ago, my answer would have been yes.
Mhm.
And then now that I've kind of broken myself of my fragrance as a collection, no.
Yeah.
Because there are plenty of fragrances that I love, but not enough to have a full bottle that I decanted and then got rid of.
Yeah. I think
Um,
if I don't have an emotional connection to it, I can do that. But there are some bottles that feel very nostalgic that I don't know, like I look at my mom's old fragrance collection and how fun it is to look at those bottles, and I'm like, one day I'm gonna want to look at this. One day I'm gonna want to see, pink sugar and remember when I was 19 years old bopping around the city. So those are the things I keep just for pure nostalgia.
Yeah, I'm not a very nostalgic person though. Like I
Mm.
don't keep heirlooms. There is one family photo in my entire apartment. So I think I'm not necessarily that kind of person. There are plenty of bottles I like, but there's nothing where like, when the trend was like, if your house was on fire, what two perfume bottles would you grab? And I'm like, none. They're
None.
perfume.
I'd grab my kids, probably not my perfume, but here I am weeping over some of my bottles. So I mean,
Right.
also very highly emotional person right here. So I do love that though. I love when a fragrance just immediately makes me cry.
Yeah. I do love though that like sampling has made me that much more adventurous in my perfume sampling.
Mhm.
I think I'm well versed in knowing what I want in my fragrance wardrobe. And I can kind of tell by the brief if I'm going to enjoy a fragrance. But when you're sampling, I'll be like, yeah, I want to try the Nutella toast perfume. I'm not a gourmand person, but of course I want to try that.
I love that perfume.
it's it's one of the ones in my little reference box because I'm like, "Oh, you said you like sweet perfumes, but do you like photorealistic Nutella on toast?"
It's so good. I never wear it, but I love to smell the bottle. Love it.
That's why I keep a sample of it.
Yep.
And then there are perfumes. You were talking about nostalgia. As much as I'm not a super nostalgic person, I have like three samples of Blackbird's YS-06 that it's such a bizarre composition for it to strike that emotional chord for me. But my mom loved banana popsicles,
Hmm.
and my brother played and like rebuilt guitars as a teenager. So this perfume that is burnt circuit boards and like artificial banana and jasmine distinctly remembers, it like brings me back to being 10 years old, sitting in my brother's room while he works on the guitar and my mom is sitting there talking to us eating a banana popsicle.
I love that.
It's such a striking, specific memory. I will
Mhm.
never wear this perfume,
But you want to smell it.
but I want to have it, yeah, to
Yeah.
reference.
I feel that way about a couple of fragrances. There's definitely a few things in my collection that I have full size bottles of that feels wasteful to have a full size, but I do just want to like spray it on a blotter and like sniff at it now and then, but not, probably not wear it to work.
Right. Right.
You know.
I mean, that's like I have these two sitting here because I'm still debating it.
Mhm.
Um, this is from the brand Studio Ready. I loved both of these perfumes, but they're kind of similar to things I have in my collection. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to wear these out to figure out if this is worth replacing the one that's currently up on the tray. That's in the same area.
It's a good way to approach it, I think. Especially when you become somebody who you step back from your collection and realize like, okay, I don't need, you know, 15 orange blossom fragrances. They all kind of
Right.
smell the same.
That's just Sephora. Um,
Shade thrown at Sephora. That is everything in the women's side of Sephora at the moment. Um don't get me started.
yeah. So like what is it that makes a fragrance earn its space in your life?
Um I mean that's hard to say because there are moments, and this is typically when I'm working in the store where I'm like, yep, that immediately now put it in the bag. Um but then there are times when samples just sort of hit me, and I think for me, I'm looking for that emotional connection to a fragrance. I'm looking for it to spark a memory or spark a feeling or make me feel like someone that I want to be. Right? I want this to be my bad bitch get shit done fragrance. I want this to be my cozy girl that knows how to actually stop and relax fragrance. it feels like putting on a mask at times, and it doesn't really achieve that for me. And I think having a bigger collection now, I'm sort of looking for where the holes are in the collection. Like, do I ever need to own another tea fragrance ever again? No, probably not. But if you come up with a tea fragrance that's a tea fragrance that I don't have yet, I'm gonna smell it and I might get it. Um, so I think that's like the weird collection within my collection that I'll always sort of pick up, but it has to be different enough. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think for
What's it
me,
for you?
I've whittled it down to where I have like the scent families that I really want. And I
Hmm.
have kind of my, this is the epitome of what I want for this perfume family or this style.
Hmm.
And as I'm sampling, there are a few things where I'm like, do I like this more? Like I just said, could this replace what I have already? And then I have my little growing wish list on Parfumo where I am sampling things and I'm like, I do want this, but not right now. And when I wear through, an easy example again, just because I'm wearing through these Sex Drive by Studio
Hmm.
Ready, is a super lovely, musky kind of leather thing. It's really
Mm.
sexy.
I have to order that sample set. I forgot. I need
But I
it.
have Nocturnality by Arquiste.
Hmm. Mm.
And I'm like, okay, but I also do really like that. So
Yeah.
most likely I will wear Nocturnality. And when I eventually run out of it, rather than reordering it, I'm going to order Sex Drive. So I
Yeah.
have kind of like a timeline of when this fragrance will come into my life because I've been allowed to sample.
Yeah. Yeah. And it definitely, this happened to me recently with Diva Behavior from OSM, because it scratched this itch of like this big, really bold, humid, watery floral, that it made another in my collection feel really redundant. But it's something I already have a full size bottle of. It's not one that's going to be difficult to declutter at all. Um, but I feel like I don't need both in my collection anymore. And it almost feels sacrilege to say it, but I'm gonna declutter Orchid Mantis from Zoologist. I fucking love everything Zoologist, Victor. Adore you. Um, it just, that one on paper, I love it so much. Zoologist is one of the few brands that I will blind buy, even though that's crazy work. But on paper it's gorgeous. On skin, it's just a little too indolic of a floral for me. And OSM just sort of knocked that out of the way for me. So I should have been better and gotten a sample first, but
Well, I think that leads into another point that I had considered where, and brands are going to hate to hear this, so I'm going to lean in and I'm going to speak real softly about it. Our
we're,
ASMR.
we're doing ASMR. I love it.
Yeah. Limited releases and scarcity do not make your perfume more important,
Yes.
especially if you're going to re release it as a full bottle later on. I hate when we all get, I do it, I fall victim to it, get caught in
Yep.
the hype of a limited release fragrance, of a secret fragrance. A good example of this is Clue. I love Clue. I love the
Love
way they
them.
did their limited release. I have
It
never,
pissed
I
me
was
off
sitting on a
so
plane.
much.
I was connected to Delta's Wi Fi at 10,000 feet, being like, I will get this limited release fragrance. And I got it.
I
I got one of the 100 bottles.
I couldn't find the bottle and I was devastated.
And I did. It was chasing the high. And I was like, yes, I got it. That fragrance gave me a migraine. I immediately had to declutter it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, damn. If I
Yeah.
hadn't just enjoyed this process so much, I would have just ordered a sample of this later on.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I mean, there's very few cases where I think that it's worth it to do a limited release. In that sense, the one of the few brands that I think is doing it because it's what's actually in the bottle. We talked to Chris from Cult of Kaori, which is our next episode,
Mm-hmm.
and a limited release that he's doing, and there's reason because the ingredient that's in it is scarce. There's another brand called Rivendare from out of Australia that I am massively obsessed with, and if we get a restock of any of his bottles. And I say if because the ingredients are so difficult for him to find. It took 6 months last time we ordered it. If it comes back, I will be purchasing those immediately. But he's sourcing real ambergris by camping out at the beach for weeks to find it. So, if he can only make 20 bottles, that's okay. That's very different than a brand doing it just purely for marketing. I think it, and then even like from the content creator standpoint, I have limited edition bottles. I'm not talking about them because what's the point of talking about it if people can't get their hands on it again? Unless you turn around in a year and say, "Hey, we did it again. Here it is," as a money grab. It's nothing pisses me off more.
Yeah, I fully agree there. So in general, sample culture is important. But we want to hear from you all. What are you sampling right now? Tell us something that you have a sample of that you haven't let go of, but you also haven't been able to buy the new bottle. Where are you
Yeah.
stuck in that paralysis?
Yeah. Josh, what are you smelling right now? What's a sample that you have right now that you think you're going to upgrade to a full size bottle?
So I have my other little pile of samples that I keep wearing right now. And one that I haven't talked about is that upcoming release by Cult of Kaori,
Mm,
where
mine
my
is
first
done.
reaction to it was, I want to drink this. And I've used very little of it because I'm like savoring this because I don't know when the fragrance is going to come out.
I'm going
And
to
I have
bully him until
nothing
it
like
comes
this in
out.
my collection.
Yeah, it's incredible. My sample comes with a super cringy story. Um, so I am sampling and almost done with Night Child from Epicron. So during Scent Explore, I got the opportunity. I was hanging out with it was Chris and JK and a bunch of perfumers, and we were all gonna go out to dinner. And Jake was it JK? No, Chris said, "Oh hey, Michael Nordstrand's gonna come with us," and I was like, "What? What?" And I had a fangirl moment that he was going to be coming to dinner with us, and we immediately bonded. Like I am obsessed with him. But I I said to him, I am loving Twin Peaks from Epicron. Like I'm almost done with my bottle. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's nice. That's not mine." I'm like, "What do you mean that's not yours?" And so I felt like a complete moron. But I'm like, "Wait a minute, your name is on the website." And he's like, "It is, it shouldn't be." And so just a couple of days ago, I went and I double checked, and his name is on the website as the perfumer. So I'm like, "See, I'm not crazy." But it was a very like, I felt like a complete moron. So knowing that it was not his fragrance, I had to order a sample to smell the one that was actually his. And this is incredibly, I might send you, if I don't kill this, I might send over the sample to you to smell because I think you're gonna love it. And it's not one I can buy right now because it's sold out. So, but it is this gorgeous, really resinous, deep, dark patchouli. Um, I think I'm getting some pine, but it's incredibly like mysterious and like almost makes me like a little nervous. There's something about it that makes me feel bubbly inside. I don't know. So this one will definitely be upgraded to a full size at some point, and I am so sorry to Michael for not knowing which fragrance you did.
Sorry, Michael
But it's
Nordstrand.
not my fault.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us this episode, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, see you later. Love you. Bye.